Let's dive right into today's explainer. We're opening up what I can only describe as an active and, frankly, deeply disturbing investigative case file. We're looking closely at a shocking event from 2026 that completely shook Pakistan. You know, as an investigator, or really just as someone trying to understand how communities function, there's almost nothing more chilling than seeing the basic safety of a major city entirely break down. We're going to trace exactly what happened here, step by step, going through the source material to uncover not just a terrible crime, but a massive systemic failure. This is Peshawar's silent cry. Let's get right into it.
So, where did a 10-year-old girl go? It's literally the most terrifying premise you could imagine. A young girl, just 10 years old, vanishes without a trace from Peshawar. When you look at this from an investigative standpoint, an urban disappearance is incredibly complex. I mean, think about it. You have a bustling city, countless streets, thousands of people everywhere, absolutely no trace. And in any missing persons case, let me tell you, those first few days are just agonizing. The trail starts to go cold, the silence from the outside world is deafening. But then, according to the reports, that silence was finally shattered. One night, the mother received a horrifying phone call. This wasn't just a case of a kid wandering off, no. The people on the other end of the line claimed they had her daughter. And what did they want? Millions of rupees for her safe release. Just imagine the sheer panic of that exact moment. This mysterious disappearance instantly morphed into a high-stakes, absolutely terrifying ransom situation.
Now, you really have to look at the excruciating burden this placed on a desperate mother. This wasn't a family with millions just sitting in a bank account somewhere. The source material details how she tried absolutely everything she could to scrape together this massive sum. First, she's selling off her personal belongings, just liquidating whatever she had. Next, she's pleading with relatives, likely draining the savings of her entire extended family. And finally, just borrowing from anyone willing to help her. It's essentially the anatomy of pure desperation. We're looking at a citizen completely drained of resources, pushed to the absolute brink, just trying to buy her daughter's life back from criminals.
Let's track the timeline here closely, because this is where the case takes a turn that is honestly hard to believe. So we start on day 1 with the disappearance. A few days later, the ransom call hits. Then we get to the drop. The mother, after going through all that liquidation and borrowing we just talked about, finally gathers a portion of the ransom money. She follows the kidnapper's instructions, heads to the address, and walks right into their territory. But this is where the trap was sprung. When she arrived, hoping to finally see her daughter, the whole situation devolved into a completely different nightmare. The kidnappers captured her too. The mother, the very person trying to save the victim, was taken by the exact same gang.
She became a double victim. The source text is very clear about the harrowing reality of what happened next. This mother found herself trapped in a nightmare of fear and violence. She wasn't just held against her will. She was subjected to violence over a period of days. From an investigative journalism perspective, this is where you really see the complete impunity of this criminal gang. I mean, they felt so untouchable that they didn't just take the cash and run, they captured the person delivering it. But incredibly, the story doesn't end in that trap. After surviving those horrific days, the mother somehow managed a desperate, literally miraculous escape. She actually got out.
Now, this is where the investigation shifts from a crime into a massive, glaring, institutional failure. Because after her escape, this deeply traumatized mother went from one police station to another, literally begging the authorities to help rescue her little girl. But according to her claims, her cries for help were completely ignored. Left feeling totally abandoned by the very system sworn to protect her, she did the only thing she really could do. She turned to social media to tell the world. And the public response? Immediate, viral digital outrage. It is a really disturbing paradox when you think about it. The physical institutions closed their doors to her, so she was forced to open a digital window to the public.
Let's break down exactly what that public response looked like, because it spread like wildfire. It was a massive societal mobilization. Social media platforms were absolutely flooded with posts and videos of her story. People were sharing it everywhere, demanding justice. And once it hit that critical mass online, traditional news channels picked it up and amplified her story even further. Activists mobilized across the entire country. This wasn't just about Peshawar anymore. Ordinary citizens were raising their voices, demanding faster, harder action against these gangs. And ultimately, it sparked widespread calls for stronger child protection laws overall. Investigating this one terrible kidnapping really exposed a raw nerve across the entire country. I want to step back from the specific details of the Peshawar case file for a second here, because as the source material explicitly points out, this story became way more than just one family's tragedy. It became a really stark reminder of the dangers lurking in our own cities. We often think of urban spaces as safe just because they're crowded and well lit, right? But the reality of urban child safety is incredibly complex. The sheer volume of people can actually provide cover for organized criminal gangs. This case serves as a massive warning flag for families everywhere to really understand the vulnerabilities that exist in urban environments and the absolute necessity of being vigilant. It's about recognizing that the dangers a lot of families fear are unfortunately very real.
And I think this perfectly illustrates the core message we have to take away from this explainer today. It functions almost like a manifesto for basic human rights. Every child deserves safety. Every family deserves justice, and no voice asking for help should ever be ignored. Just think about how that mother's voice was ignored at those police stations. That institutional apathy is exactly what allowed the criminals to hold the power. As we dissect this case, those 3 sentences are the ultimate standard that the public was demanding the authorities be held to. It's the ethical baseline of any functioning society.
Which leads us directly to a chilling final question. After reviewing the facts of this case file, it's something we all really need to consider. If the system completely failed you, if you went to the authorities and your cries for help were just ignored, exactly like the mother in our source material, how would you protect your family in the city? What steps would you take? The 2026 Peshawar kidnapping is a chilling reminder of how quickly safety can just vanish and how vital it is for communities to hold their protective institutions accountable. It makes you think deeply about where you place your trust and what you would actually do when confronted with the unimaginable. Keep that question in mind and never stop demanding that those voices asking for help are finally heard.